Namaste, 9th standard children. Today we will just continue the storyteller written by Saki. So in this lesson, a bachelor and three children and their children's aunt are traveling in a train, in a carriage, and the children were very disturbing, and at that moment just aunt tries to divert their mind by telling a story, and she tells a story of a good girl who was respected by many, was in a instance of in a trouble, that one bull tries to attack this good girl, and because of her goodness people save her. Runningly they save the life of this good girl. So the question arises there, is the one of the girl, the eldest one in that girl, ask that because of her goodness the people have saved her life. If she was not good, would they save her life? So this was the question, and the bachelor in the same carriage just said the same question had come to his mind also. Then he says to the aunt that she does not seems to be a good storyteller. So then at that moment what happens? Para number 21. The aunt bristled in instant defense at this unexpected attack. It's a very difficult thing to tell stories that children can both understand and appreciate, she said stiffly. So what she said is very difficult to tell the story to the children, and that such stories which are appreciated by the children. I don't agree with you, said the bachelor. Perhaps you would like to tell them a story, was the aunt's retort. So whatever she said, the bachelor did not agree with her, and at that moment aunt asks him, will you tell a story to the children? Tell us a story, demanded a bigger of the small girls. Once upon a time, began the bachelor. So one of the girl, the bigger, the eldest one in those children, asked, tell a story. Once upon a time, the bachelor starts. There was a little girl called Bertha, who was extraordinarily good. So his story has a girl. She was extraordinarily good. The children momentarily aroused interest began to flicker. All stories seemed to dreadfully alike, no matter who told them. So they started thinking that all stories are all alike. There used to be stories about good children only. Okay, so it is dreadfully alike, no matter who told them. She did all that she was told. She was always truthful, and kept her clothes clean, ate milk puddings as though they were jam tarts, learned her lesson perfectly, and was polite in her manners. So what are the good things about this girl was, she did all that whatever she was told to do, she used to do that. She was always truthful. She kept her clothes clean and ate milk pudding as though they were jam tarts, learned her lesson perfectly, and was polite in her manners. So these are the good nature, good manners she had. Was she pretty? Asked the bigger of the small girl. Not as pretty as any of you. So the answer was she? The question was she pretty? So he answered, not as pretty as any of you. So this is the way how you praise the children, how you attract by your words, said the bachelor. Just she was horribly good. There was a wave of reaction in favor of the story. The word horrible in connection with goodness was a novelty and commanded itself. It seemed to introduce a ring of truth that was absent from the aunt's tales of infant life. So what he said, but she was horribly good. Horribly is very contrasting word connected to good. So what the children thought, this is something new for them. The children reacted something, this is a new story they are hearing. Horrible and good, they are contrasting word there, but he has joined those horrible good in single word. The word horrible in connection with goodness was clearly that commanded itself. It seemed to introduce a ring of truth. So, ring of truth, a new thing has emerged in their mind that was absent from the aunt's tales of infant life. So, what he did, he just attracted the children to his these words. Those words which were absent in the aunt's story. She was so good, continued the bachelor, that she won several medals for goodness, which she always wore, pinned on her dress. There was a medal for obedience, another medal for punctuality, and a third for good behavior. They were large medals, and they clinked against one another as she walked. No other child in the town where she lived had as many 3 medals, so everybody knew that she must be an extra good child. So, why she has medals? What are the qualities she had? See, she was so good. Why she was so good? Listen here. That she won several medals for goodness. She had medals also for her goodness. She always used to wear her medals, the big medals. She always used to pin it to her dress. There was a medal for obedience. There was a medal for another medal for punctuality. What is punctuality? Being punctual in your timings. You follow the time. You follow your words. This is called punctuality. So she was obedient. She used to obey her parents, obey her teachers, obey her elders. So, for that she had one medal. And another medal was for punctuality. And third medal for behavior, good behavior. Good behavior means good manners. How you talk, how the way you treat others. So, these are the good behavior. So, they were very large medals. And they clinked each other. So when she wore that medals, they clinked, means they make sound. They touched each other when she walked. No other child in the town where she lived had as many as 3 medals. So everybody knew that she must be an extra good child. So no one had so many medals as she had. So all knew that she is an extraordinary good child. Extraordinary means more than ordinary, no more than normal. Horribly good, quoted Cyril. So the boy's name is Cyril then. Horribly good, he said. Everybody talked about her goodness, and the prince of the country got to hear about it. And he said that as she was so very good, she might be allowed once a week to walk in his park, which was just outside the town. It was a beautiful park, and no children were ever allowed in it. So it was a great honor for Bertha to be allowed to go there. So she was so good that even the prince of the country got to hear about her goodness, and he had allowed her to get into his park. She can walk in his park. So, where is the park? Just outside the town. It is a royal park. It was a beautiful park. It is a royal park. As it is a royal park, it was beautiful park too. And no children were ever allowed in it. So, no other children were ever allowed in it. Why the children were not allowed in that park? Because the children used to pluck the flowers or destroy the things. So, children used to play. So, the prince has confidence that as she was so good, she won't do all these things. So it was so beautiful park, and no children were ever allowed in it. So it was a great honor for Bertha to be allowed to go there. So only Bertha was allowed to go there. So she was a lucky one. Were there any sheep in the park? Demanded Cyril. Whether there was any sheep in the park? No, said the bachelor. There were no sheep. Why weren't there any sheep? Came the inevitable question arising out of that answer. So Cyril asked the bachelor whether there were any sheep in the park. The bachelor said no. Then another question arose. Why is there no sheep in the park? The aunt permitted herself a smile, which might almost have been described as grin. So, looking into the question, hearing these questions, she thought, aunt thought that this boy cannot answer, this bachelor cannot answer the questions asked by Cyril and other children. So she just gave a grin smile, as if a taunting smile. There were no sheep in the park, said the bachelor, because the prince's mother had once had a dream. So why there is no sheep in the park? Now he tells, see. Because prince's mother had a dream that her son would either be killed by a sheep or else by a clock falling on him. So prince's mother, that town had a prince, and the prince had a park. In that park there was no sheep. Why there is no sheep? Because once when prince was small, she had a dream. She got a dream. In the dream, prince gets killed by a sheep or a wall clock. So there is no sheep in that park. For this reason, the prince never kept sheep in his park or clock in his palace. So there is no sheep in his park or clock in his palace, because his mother had dreamt that he will die due to the falling of clock or due to the sheep. The aunt suppressed a gasp of admiration. So internally, inside, in her mind, aunt's mind, she just admired this bachelor's trick of shifting his questions to in a positive way. Was the prince killed by a sheep or by a clock? The boy asked. Was the prince killed by a sheep or a clock? Asked Cyril. He is still alive, so we can't tell whether the dream will come true. So what the bachelor says, he is still alive. Don't ask whether he is died or due to the clock or a sheep. He is still alive. So we don't know whether the dream will come true or not. We will just continue. We will just proceed, said the bachelor unconcernedly. Anyway, there were no sheep in the park, but there were lots of pigs. There were no sheep in the park, but there were lots of pigs running all over the place. So there were no sheep in the park. Royal Park consists of so many pigs. What color were they? The boy asked. What color the pigs are? Black with white faces. This is the description of the pigs in the park. Black with white faces, white with black spots, black all over, grey with white patches, and somewhere white all over. So how many types of pigs are there? Black with the white faces, black pigs with the white faces, white with black spots, white pigs with black spots, dots, and black all over, full black pigs. Then grey with white patches, grey sheep with white patches, and some sheep are all white. So 5 types of pigs were there. The storyteller paused to let a full idea of the park's treasures sink into the children's imaginations. Then he resumed. So he just allowed, by saying all these things, he just allowed the children to guess, presume how does the park looks like. Bertha was rather sorry to find that there were no flowers in the park. So The storyteller paused to let the full idea of the past treasure sink into the children's imagination. Then he resumed. Then he started again. Then said, Bertha was rather sorry to find that there were no flowers in the park. She had promised her aunts, with tears in her eyes, that she would not pick any of the kind prince flowers, and she had meant to keep her promise. So, of course, it made her feel silly to find that there were no flowers to pluck, no flowers to pick. Now, Bertha has come to the park, Royal Park. She looks all around and she finds that there is no flowers in the park. There is that is park, but the park does not have any flowers in the park. She had promised her aunt, before coming to this park, she had promised her aunt that she will not pluck any of the flowers of the Prince Park. So, before coming to the park, she promised her aunt that she will not pluck any of the flowers in the park. Why weren't there any flowers? Cyril asked. Why weren't there any flowers? Because the pigs had eaten them all. Why there is no flowers? Because there are pigs in the park and the pigs have eaten all the flowers, said the bachelor promptly. The gardener had told the prince that you couldn't have pigs and flowers, so he decided to have pigs and no flowers. So, why there is no flowers? The gardener of that park, the gardener Mali of that park, had told the prince, you can either have flowers or you can have pigs. So, prince has told that you can only have pigs in the park. So, there were no flowers in the park. There was a murmur of approval at the excellence of prince's decision. So many people would have decided the other way. So, the children thought, so excellent decision he had made. Oh, he is a unique decision, something different. Now, all people will be having flowers or beautiful plants in the garden. Now, the prince has kept pigs in the garden, so different it is. So, they started discussing about this. Para number 50. There were lots of other delightful things in the park. Other than the pigs, there were other good things in the park. What are they? There were ponds with golden and blue green fish in them. So, there were ponds, and in that ponds, there were gold and blue and green fish in them. And trees with beautiful parrots. There are trees, and in those trees, there were beautiful parrots that said clever things at a moment's notice. So, the talking parrots were there in the park. And hummingbirds that hummed all the popular tunes of the day. Bertha walked up and down and enjoyed herself immensely, and thought to herself, if I were not so extraordinarily good, I should not have been allowed to come into this beautiful park and enjoy all that there is to be seen in it. Her 3 medals clinked against one another as she walked, and helped to remind her how very good she really was. Just then an enormous wolf came prowling into the park to see if it could catch a fat little pig for its supper. Now what happens? She is walking in the park. Bertha is walking in the park, and she is so delighted that she is so lucky. She is so lucky to get a chance to walk in the park. So there were so many things that can be seen, the parrots, the talking parrots, and the singing hummingbirds. So these were there, and while she was walking, she just imagines that how lucky she is that she got the chance to walk in this beautiful park and enjoy. She was enjoying those moments, and at that time her medals were clinking each other. So, and suddenly suddenly a wolf appears there. Why that wolf had come to the park? Because it thought it will get a fat pig to eat for its supper. So this much is enough for today. Till para number 50. Read it. Read it till para number 50 only. Don't go further because you need to be thorough till there, and read the meaning also. Read the meaning. With the meaning only you read. Make it a point, make it a decision that you will read 5 times at least, and remaining chapter I will finish in my next video. Till then, take care and namaste.